Chapter 24. Visitors. Ferry decided to never take off his gloves again. At home, he didn't say a word about what happened the day before. His raven was missing again, but Ferry knew he was watching from somewhere, unseen. That was comforting, somehow. A joyful frenzy took over the town, growing with each passing day. Christmas was coming. Ferry loved the commotion. Ever since that day when he and May went sledding, he discovered how wonderful winter could be. Billy and Danny weren't bothering him or his friends anymore. They would cast long looks at him, but then just pass him by. On the Sunday before Christmas, Ferry's mother took him shopping. Unlike other years, Mrs. Donovan invited their neighbors and their families to the Christmas supper. There were only a few days left until Christmas, and the shopping list was rather long. For the festive meal, his mother planned to make stuffed turkey with potatoes and sweet peas, cranberry sauce, and Mr. Donovan's favorite chicken jelly. For dessert, she had decided on raisin and cheese pie, butter muffins, and wild berry pie with lettuce and apple salad, Ferry's favorites. After shopping, his mother decided it was the perfect time for a walk. The streets and houses, and the people were all in a state of joyous celebration. They passed by May's house and saw her placing Christmas decorations in her parents' flower shop window. The coronets were made from pine branches with scattered cranberry and mistletoe berries. At first, May didn't see him, but Ferry knocked on the window, and May looked up. She smiled, small roses blooming in her cheeks. She gave him a little wave, then rushed back to the flower arrangements. Eileen smiled as well, tears in her eyes. Her boy was growing up. They went to the central square, now full of sellers and their stalls, laughter and shouts. They could smell baked apples, roasted chestnuts, gingerbread, and lollipops hanging on red ropes in the upper part of the stalls. Trays of cakes, pies, tarts, and soufflés cut in small delicious squares packed the stalls and tempted the customers with their flavors. Eileen bought Ferry a sugar-coated apple. A hairy hand, the hairiest he had ever seen, offered him the much-wanted treat. Ferry raised his eyes and met the vendors. Under a funny bonnet, a hairy face was hiding, looking similar to that of a wolf. The odd man smiled from under his long wiry mustache. "Here you are, young master," the vendor said, giving Ferry the apple. "Have we met?" Ferry asked him. "Well, you are famous where I come from, that's for sure," the vendor replied with a mysterious smile. Ferry was about to ask for explanations, but his mother wasn't that curious. She paid for the apple, muttering, "Ferry, how many times have I asked you not to talk to strangers? It doesn't matter if they say they know you. You don't talk to strangers. Am I clear?" "Yes, Mum," said Ferry with a sigh, taking a big bite of the apple. The next day, Ferry went to play in the snow with Ben and Matilda. Even though they knew it was strictly forbidden, they planned to go to the hill near the forest, the richest in snow. The forest seemed to call to them with whispered voices, and the snow was perfect for playing. They built a snow fort and pretended to be brave knights fighting a snow dragon. Then they started a snowball fight. Ferry was now happy to play in the snow, just like the other kids. But as they were playing, a heavy snowfall began. In a few minutes, they could barely see through the curtain of snowflakes. They knew they had to go. As if the snowfall wasn't enough, a blizzard started. They had to hold each other's hands to make their way through the storm. "I can't see a thing," Matilda shouted through the blizzard. "If we keep going, we'll get lost. If we haven't already." The fierce blizzard scattered even their echoes as they talked. The children stopped, unsure of where to go. "Matt, why didn't you bring your dog?" Ben shouted. "He would have shown us the way home." "Shadow has been missing for days," she shouted back. "Besides, he wouldn't be able to handle this weather. He can't fly, you know." "Why didn't you bring your lizard?" she snapped. "Is missing too," Ben shouted. "Then Ferry should call his raven," Matilda suggested, and they both turned to their friend with hope in their eyes. Ferry had no choice but to whistle, and in a few moments, they heard the ravens croak above them. But they still couldn't see him through the thick snow. "What are we going to do? We can't just stay here. We're going to freeze to death," Ben moaned. Ferry looked around, trying to think of something. He couldn't even see a few steps ahead. They would definitely get lost if they wandered randomly. As they desperately looked around, they saw tracks in the fresh snow ahead of them. Strange prints they did not recognize. "Ben, what kind of tracks are those?" Ferry asked. Ben bent over and looked at the tracks on the snow. "If I didn't think this was impossible, I would say they are kangaroo prints," he said, his eyes wide with astonishment. Ferry thought for a moment, then decided to follow the tracks. "Come on," he shouted. "Whatever they are, they will get us out of here." "How do you know that?" Matilda shouted back through the blizzard. "Because they are ski tracks," he said. It was the first thing that came to his mind. But Ben was suspicious. Ski tracks? Shouldn't there be tracks from ski poles too? And how come we didn't see the skier? Shouldn't those tracks be behind us as well? "Let's go already," Ferry urged them. He hated to admit it, but Ben was right. Yet he couldn't see any other way out. The raven's stone pulsed against his chest, a sign they were in the presence of a fairy. Ferry hoped it was a good one, though. They had no choice but to follow the tracks in the snow. The cold was getting more intense, and the blizzard was slowing them down. But the children continued, holding on to each other. Ferry was in the lead. He was also the first to notice the creature who left the tracks, right in front of them. He even had the strange feeling that the creature was waiting for them. When they got too close, it moved again. Soon, the snowfall slowed down and Ferry could see more clearly. It was a woman dressed in an old-fashioned checkered dress with a green and red pattern. She wore a big, pointy green hat. A witch's hat. But that wasn't the strangest thing. The way she moved was even stranger. She wasn't walking, she was hopping like a giant rabbit. Fortunately, they were getting close to town. When they reached the outskirts, the woman vanished, and the tracks disappeared as though she had vanished into thin air. Now the blizzard was over, and the children could breathe easier. They could see the first houses right in front of them. His friends forgot about the danger and soon started a snowball fight again, running ahead of him. Then they suddenly stopped. When Ferry finally caught up with them, he understood why. In front of them was the mysterious person who had led their way. She was smiling. Or at least trying to. Her smile looked more like a grin. From underneath the pointy hat, a rabbit's mouth emerged. Even though her eyes looked human, the rabbit mouth with two prominent front teeth and the notched upper lip made the children freeze in place. If the woman's appearance hadn't been that peculiar, the children would have surely noticed her hat. It was made of green leaves and decorated with the frailest summer flowers, which was curious since it was the middle of winter. Ferry even had the feeling that the top of her hat was moving. "Are you all right, children?" she asked, her voice soft and gentle. "We're fine," Matilda mumbled, staring at the woman who kept on smiling. Ben tried to make himself smaller, and Ferry to keep his calm. He saw the woman's eyes fix on him. "How about you, Garrett? Are you all right?" Ferry frowned. "My name is not Garrett." "You are right." The woman hesitated. "Forgive me," she said, and gave a small curtsy. Matilda tugged at Ferry's sleeve. "Ferry, let's go. This woman looks odd," she whispered. The children headed towards the town without looking back. But after a few steps, they all broke into a run, as if chased by wolves. Everyone soon forgot about the hopping lady as the holidays were coming. On Christmas Eve, Ferry set off to visit his friends with gifts. He had made them himself by turning some of his drawings into paintings. He even made frames from dry branches and glued on cones and acorns. The painting for Matilda was one of a treehouse. For Ben, He made one of a magical gateway. One side of the gate showed a forest at night, while the other side revealed a beautiful land with strange plants swaying in twilight. He saved the best one for May, of course. It was the drawing of a meadow full of wildflowers with dancing fairies in the soft light of dusk. Ferry was happy to see how much joy his presence brought. His friends hadn't forgotten about him. Matilda gave him a friendship leather bracelet she made herself. Ben's mother crocheted a colorful wool scarf for him. And May gave him a notebook decorated with dried flowers that smelled like summer. Ferry headed home with a merry heart. But as he reached the central square, he noticed a man waiting at the corner of the main street. His appearance caught Ferry's eye. He was wearing a raincoat and a hat on a cold winter day. "You shouldn't wander alone at such a late hour," the stranger hissed. Ferry flinched. "Excuse me, but do I know you?" he asked without stopping. The stranger joined him. Although he looked curious, Ferry felt oddly comfortable in his presence. "Maybe you don't know me, but I know you," said the man. As he walked beside him, Ferry watched him from the corner of his eye. The man's face, hidden behind the collar of his raincoat, had an odd, greenish hue. His yellow eyes blinked sideways, like a reptile. "Have we met before?" Ferry asked. The stranger laughed. "More often than you think," he said. "And what is your name, if you don't mind?" "My name is not important. What I do is of bigger importance." Now Ferry was really curious. "What is it that you do?" he asked. "I protect," the stranger said right before vanishing with a smile before Ferry's very eyes. At home, Ferry couldn't stop thinking about the strange people he kept seeing. Soon, the entire town was to witness them too.